Many residential streets in Louth once felt like safe harbors, but that peace of mind is under pressure. As legal proceedings move slowly and persistent crime continues, a sense of tension is settling into local neighborhoods. We can see this tension clearly in the case of Samantha Stokes. On a May morning in Muirhev-na-Moor, what began as an argument ended with Stokes chasing another woman out of her home while wielding a knife. The details of the pursuit were severe. Stokes smashed property throughout the house and made death threats, all while the victim's children were present during the attack. When the case reached the Dundalk Circuit Court, Judge Dara Hayes handed down a 2.5-year sentence. However, the judge suspended the final 15 months, citing the defendant's history of domestic violence and mental health struggles that were made worse by alcohol. This result highlights a recurring struggle in the courtroom. When a sentence is cut in half to account for an attacker's personal trauma, it suggests a legal priority on managing the offender's past, even when measured against the immediate terror of the victim. To see how the system handles a defendant who refuses to cooperate with these legal norms, we look to the case of 56-year-old Lisa Temple. Temple was convicted of assault during a property repossession in Leopardstown. During the incident, she punched one security official and lunged at another with a crackling taser. In the Dublin Circuit Criminal Court, Temple's behavior shifted the focus from the assault to the judge's authority. She shouted from the dock and told Judge Martin Nolan to give up your old sins, ultimately refusing to sign a standard good behavior bond that would have finalized her suspended sentence. Despite her adult daughters and supporters pleading with her to sign the bond, Temple chose defiance. Because she would not comply with the court's order, she was remanded in custody. This case demonstrates a specific judicial boundary. The system proved willing to offer a suspended sentence for physical violence, but the moment the offender insulted the court's authority and refused its orders, they were taken straight to the cells. Back in Louth, the friction in the legal system is often defined by the high standards of proof required to move a case forward. This is evident in the trial of Darren Kearney, accused of a violent, aggravated burglary. The victim described a terrifying morning. An intruder broke into her home with a hammer and demanded the keys to an Audi A4. The trial centered on a conflict of evidence. While the victim was certain the intruder was Kearney, claiming his skull mask slipped, the defense pointed to a lack of physical description given to Gardaí, and crucially, a lack of enough DNA to create a forensic profile. Without forensic links, the jury found enough reasonable doubt to return a not guilty verdict, despite the adamant identification. Other forms of friction are more administrative. In the case of a man facing 2 counts of sexual assault in Muirhev-na-Moor Park, the trial was delayed and consultations with his legal team stalled due to interpreter difficulties. Whether the delay stems from technical evidence or missing paperwork, the result is a slow-moving process. These procedural bottlenecks can extend the duration of a case, making legal resolution feel increasingly distant for the community. When the court system is weighed down by these delays, the consequences are felt at the street level. In Louth, some residents are experiencing a rise in hostility that seems to bypass the legal system entirely. Fine Gael councillor Rachel Curley recently received an anonymous typed letter at her family business. The letter was intimidating and personal, criticizing her stance on fuel protests and her route into politics with derogatory language. Curley spoke out against the letter, arguing that accepting this kind of anonymous abuse normalizes harassment. She expressed concern that this climate will discourage young people and women from entering public service. This atmosphere of opportunistic crime extends to local amenities. Visitors to Louth's beaches and forestry parks have been targeted in a spate of vehicle break-ins, leading to calls for new warning signs to alert the public. For many, the connection is clear. A court system bogged down by procedural friction creates an environment where low-level crimes and anonymous harassment are seen as risks with few immediate consequences. These cases suggest a difficult reality in the Louth justice system. Proving a crime requires high forensic standards, yet once proven, the system offers many pathways to reduce or suspend a sentence based on the offender's personal history. This creates a cycle of delay and leniency, where the general public often feels they are responsible for their own safety in the face of persistent community crime. We want to hear from you. Do these court outcomes show a system that is fairly balancing individual rights, or is the process failing the community? Tell us what you think in the comments. And that's the latest from Stephen AI TV. Let's stay loud and proud.